So it is alarming at how much people are separating and divorcing, because people have started taking relationship to be just, people don't take the value and the vice that was there before. And when us we were growing up, separation, our parents never used to separate. They never used to go separate ways because it was a taboo, it was forbidden, it was unacceptable. In fact, in my Kikuyu tradition, if a man decided to take us another wife, he was not allowed to leave his first wife. He could take another wife but still maintain his first wife as his wife. So there wasn't so much of breakups that are there that we are seeing today.
I do agree with Nyokabi. Just to put it into perspective, 48% of all first marriages end in divorce. Okay? And then 79% of women and 89% of men usually have that opportunity to go and remarry. 68% of these remarriages always include kids.
You correct the behavior, you beat the behavior and not the child. But when it comes to punishment, you're attacking the person. I'm punishing you because you did 1, 2, 3 things.
If the couples that are involved in the family are able to show love unto each other and be able to commit unto each other and be able to communicate openly and truthfully, then the kids will be able to emulate the parents, and we shall be having a well-blended family.
Yes, 48% is a big number. I will not dispute with you that 48 is quite a huge number. But then again, that's the families that end up in divorce. These are relationships that are founded on the wrong foundation. These are relationships that goalposts shift inside the relationship. These are relationships of people who are not fully committed to the relationship. One party is not, the other party is. And these are relationships of people who just don't want to do the hard work.
Good evening. My name is Likuyani, and tonight we are on an easy mode. This is the family edition. And on family edition, we discuss more about things that happen at home and in our different environments matters family. So last week, we started off with blended families and, of course, interesting perspectives from both Nyokabi Kamau and Hesbon Omlongala, who were on stage. And tonight, we take it a little bit deeper. And the question we want to address is the children that we move with to that next relationship. Most of the time, they tend to be neglected. And with that, they question themselves, am I a mistake? We want to address that. And to help me, I have Nyokabi Kamau, as always, the relationship coach. Good evening, Nyokabi.
Good evening, Lukuyani.
How are you doing?
I'm very well. I'm very well.
Sensitive topic indeed.
It is quite sensitive, quite touching.
Yeah.
It's one of those topics that people don't want to talk about, but here we are to talk about it.
Awesome. And of course, we cannot just end it at relationships. We also, in relationship, especially that thrive, they eventually end up in marriage, and that's why we talked about blended families. Why not have somebody extra to add a little bit of icing on the cake? Susan Mutai, all the way in Denmark. Good evening, Susan, and how are you? Welcome to the show.
Good evening, Ellie and the viewers. I'm glad to be here again. It's great to be on the panel with Nyokabi. I greet you.
Thank you so much. Ladies, let's get this started. We started off with blended families, and now we are discussing, am I the mistake? And reason being, when ladies move, and I will be very specific with ladies because most of the time when a relationship ends, the women tend to move out with the children. It is not always the situation, but most of the time, that is what we see. But there is a trend that seems to indicate that these children, at one point or another, they get neglected. Why is this a point of concern, Nyokabi?
Well, they do. It is a concern because when you raise a child who is neglected, when you neglect a child, the impact is very powerful because this child is not able to grow up maturely. They're not able to learn emotional maturity. They're not able to learn social cues, maturity. There's a lot that goes into this child that causes them to be dysfunctional people. They don't fit into the society the way they are supposed to fit because of some of the things that they are missing. Because, a child develops through the hands of the parents. They develop their emotions through the hands of their parents. They develop their mental health through the hands of the parents. They develop their all health aspects of a person. You develop through the hands of a parent. So when a parent is absent in the life of a child, it causes that child to miss or to skip some development. It causes them to lack some experience or some understanding of some things because the parent isn't there to take them through and to help them understand that experience in particular. And that's why we are very concerned about these children.
Thank you, sorry, Nyakabi. And let me just engage a little bit of Suzanne here. Susan, if you can kindly unmute your microphone, let me just get things from you. The children that we come with, they are always a package. Why then do we just leave the package as soon as we arrive with it in our new relationships?
Thank you so much, Ellie. Most of the times, yes, we come with children from another relationship to a new relationship. And mostly women, they tend to forget so easily that when you bring the children, it is our responsibility to protect them, even in the new marriage. There's one thing that I have observed with the shifting of relationships. At one time, we get so engrossed to love, and then we forget the child, and the child starts suffering because they really need our care, but we are busy taking care of ourselves. Again, there are situations where a woman, when they have suffered a divorce or a separation, they are not able, they tend to think that rushing to another relationship, it's a part of healing, but it is wrong. A woman should be able, or a person should be able to get to wait until they get healed for them to start another relationship. Then they can be able to think upright when they are in the new relationship. That is the only way that they can be able to take care of that child when they take that package to the next relationship. Because a person that is not healed, they will rant their anger to the child, because especially when the past relationship ended in a bad note, and maybe it was an abusive relationship, then they tend to start transferring that anger to the little child that they have come with. And this way we end up hurting or destroying the child that we have brought in a relationship. You find some men also, they call that child, "You look like your mother." We use very bad words to the children until it keeps destroying them and destroying them slowly. So it is very important when we move from one relationship, we take a little time to get healed. We are supposed to adjust, not to go through it alone. Some of us go through depression, and then they don't know even they're in depression because of the past relationship. But now that depression, we tend to transfer it to the kids. And that is very, very, very bad, because the kid takes the anger and the pain of the past relationship.
Unmute your mic, Lukuyani.
I just noticed I am not a pro tonight. So, talking of taking anger from the past and healed wounds from the relationship, Nyokabi, very quickly, this ideally indicates something went wrong in the previous relationship for you to end it. So what are these kind of stages can you imply that can help one to move forward? Like, how do you deal with a breakup?
How do you deal with a breakup? The first thing that you do is to accept that you're breaking up. I think it goes through like the stages of grief. You first accept that this person has broken up with you and they no longer want to be with you. And I think that's the hardest part for people who are in relationships, especially relationships that have ended up in, like, similarly to a marriage, that you have children together, in relationships that are very much invested. The acceptance bit is the one that is the most challenging bit for most couples. They have a very hard time to accept that this person, I loved them the best way I could, but they have decided to separate with me. The other thing is to accept that it has nothing to do with you as a person. It doesn't mean that you're bad or you're terrible, you're unlovable, you're unacceptable. It just means that this person cannot be able to be with you. It just means that they have reached a place where the relationship isn't working for them anymore. It is not a weakness on your part. So the minute you stop blaming yourself and stop feeling like there's a shortcoming or there's a place that you're not performing the way you're supposed to perform, then you're more likely to move forward from the broken relationship. Allow yourself to go through the pain. The other thing that we do as people is that we don't want to go through the pain. So we do everything. We develop unhealthy ways of coping. You get into abusing of alcohol and consumption of toxic things that are not good for you. You get into a relationship, another romantic relationship, so fast without giving yourself time to heal. Please go through the process of the pain. Go through it. There's no two way about pain. You have to go through it. You go through it, you accept it was painful, it was bad, and then you start forgiving yourself for allowing yourself to be in that position. Because the other thing is that people don't understand why they are so bitter and they are so resentful to the other partner, is because they have not accepted. They can't believe that this person did that to me. How do you leave me? You stand in the mirror. They even people stand in the mirror and pose like, bravo, and thinking, seriously, you left me. You need to accept that it happened and don't blame yourself. Embrace it and go through the pain. Once you have done the stages of breakup, then you're ready. Then after you have given yourself some time to heal, then you're ready to get into another relationship. But let's not develop unhealthy ways of coping with the pain, or to avoid dealing with the pain, or to shove it into the other person's face that, look, I have another person now, I have moved on, I'm being loved, or I'm getting married. If you don't go through the pain, you're bound to become a very toxic person in the other relationship. So you need to forgive yourself, process the pain, forgive the other person, embrace that you have decided to go your separate ways, and that will help you cope better, and that will help you deal with the breakup better. But don't rush at it trying to move forward, at it trying to show them hata mimi neza songa mbele, or trying even me I can date someone else. It's so unhealthy for you and for the person that you're moving on with. So it's good that you just go through the process of a breakup. But first, acceptance. I think acceptance is the key. Accept the person has left you, accept they no longer want to be with you, and then move forward. And don't blame it on yourself and start saying, oh, if I had worn makeup a little bit better, or if I had cooked porridge like he wanted, he would still have not stayed. It would still not have been enough. Whether you put one leg like this or you put the other one the other way, my friend, it would still have not been enough. So just embrace that they're out of your life, and then now start from there and move forward. Ellie.
But Nyokabi, you talk about embracing, and I realize it's something that not all of these people are doing. There is a very sad story that was reported in the news outlets sometime in 2019, 2020 in Germany, where a teenage child, almost the age of 15 or so, stabbed 28 times the younger sibling, who was a half brother, because of the neglect they were receiving from the mother. This is their biological mother. So if you look at that kind of scenario, what exactly comes into play, Susan? Is it that the child feels not good enough, or they feel not wanted in that relationship?
Thank you, Eli. As I said before, at times parents they tend to vest their anger on children, and maybe sometimes negligence. When we neglect these children, they keep on seeking our attention, and we are not there to listen to them. These children, every child wants to be listened to. And sometimes we get so carried away by our new relationships, and then we forget that we came as a package. And then this child will, some of the children will be seeking attention, but there is no that, they don't get that attention because the parent that they came with has really been consumed by the love, the new love. Number two, sometimes the parent may get other children. You get in a relationship, maybe you get pregnant, or you make your wife pregnant, and then you expect a new child, and then this one also plays a big role. When another child comes, all attention is drawn to that child. I also saw another child, the child not only in second relationship, there's that a tendency of when another child comes, then you tend to focus on that child and you forget there was a firstborn, there was another child, and that child is, whenever they try to draw at your attention, you push them aside, and that child will continue like that, and then they see that all attention is focused on the little one that is born. Now that child start developing hatred. Now they start developing hatred of their sibling, the little one, the younger sister or the younger brother. And what happens is that this hatred continues to grow and to grow. And when the child, like that one, as you say, was a teenager, by the time they reach the teenage, they still see the love for the younger one is growing stronger, and they are being pushed away and away. Now they start developing evil minds. How can I eliminate this child so that I take the attention? And that is the case that I should say happened in Germany. The child wanted to be listened to. The child wanted to be heard. The child wanted to be loved. And that is what they were fighting for. That is why it ended the way it ended, Ellie.
Nyokabi, you want to say something before I just move on to the next one? Why do you think, does that in essence also create sibling competition? And how unhealthy does that get, Nyokabi?
I think sibling rivalry is common in both sets of the family, whether it's a nuclear family or it's a blended family, whatever kind of a family you have, sibling rivalry is bound to be there. My concern would be those parents who favor one child over the other or participate in the sibling rivalry. Now that's where I would be concerned. And how does a parent participate in the sibling rivalry? Let me give you an example. You have two boys in the house as a parent. Let's say you have Kamau and you have Ndongo. You know the behavior of Kamau and you know the behavior of Ndongo. You are in the kitchen, Kamau and Ndongo are in the sitting room and they are playing, going about their business. And you hear Kamau has started crying. And immediately from the kitchen you shout, Ndongo, wawe. You don't even know why Kamau is crying. You haven't seen. Yeah. You have already taken sides. You have decided that the problem is Ndongo. You don't even know what happened. So from you're shouting and telling Ndongo, nitakupiga wewe, what are you doing to your brother Kamau? You know, and Kamau just probably is just throwing a tantrum or seeking attention, or even Ndongo is even on the other side of the room. But because you're participating in a sibling rivalry, children are very clever. And they will just play around with your mind, and they will allow you to participate in that sibling rivalry. You will find even that Ndongo is sneakingly laughing. You know, because you're participating as a parent. It is very important that parents be very cautious when you're participating in sibling rivalry, and you have to be an objective person. You can't afford to be biased, because this child that you favor, this child that you think is actually better than the other, in most cases, that child is the most indisciplined one and in the most conniving one, and it's always the one who is causing trouble within the siblings. So what you need to do in order for you to don't participate, teach your children to resolve their own issues on their own. Bring them together. Sit here, Kamau, sit here, Ndongo. Kamau, what did you do to Ndongo? Ndongo, what did you do to Kamau? In this family, how do we handle differences? Kamau, can you apologize to Ndongo for what you have done? Ndongo, can you apologize to Kamau for what you have done? Because in order for a dispute to take place under any circumstance between two people, it takes two to tango. And there's always two sides of the coin. So there's always something that this person has done, that this person has done, that the other person has found to be offensive. And what is offensive to me is not necessarily offensive to you. So maybe when Dongo was doing what he was doing, he didn't think Kamau would take offense. But because as a parent you have decided to take sides with the children, then you don't give Dongo an opportunity to feel, to validate his feelings and to validate his concerns. So as a parent, you must be very objective when it comes to sibling rivalry. When you favor one child over the other, the child you're favoring over knows that you're favoring over them. And they're rubbing it in the face of the one that you're not favoring. And for your information, the one that you're not favoring knows that you're not favoring them. And when you create that kind of a situation, you take the sibling rivalry to another level. Now it becomes, it stops being the normal way of dispute, of disagreeing of people within the family, and it starts being more of a hatred. This person begins to feel, why is my parent favoring you? Now it stops being from tunakosana tu ile kuletana juju because your siblings, I'm older than you, you're younger than me, so we are just tunaletana tu. But because now you as a parent, you have decided to choose a side, you have now begin to develop unhealthy emotions in these children. Now you're creating awareness in these children that actually one person can be right and the other can be wrong. And those are the feelings we are talking about early. Those are the feelings that you see even in your old age. Like now, for example, in our family, we have a brother who my mother loves so much that we refer to her with that name. So whenever she calls me and she tells me that, hey, Nyokabi, I need you to do this for me, I always ask her, so what has happened to your son? Is your son the one who is supposed to do that for you? Because every time that there is something that needs to be done, she will always consult my brother. She will always say, let's hear what this guy has to say. Let's follow what this guy has to say. Your brother did. Your brother went. Your brother thinks. Your brother. So we know he's the favorite. So whenever there's a situation, sisi wengine wote tunakunjanga mikono hivi tunaangalia, so where is your son? And we actually just mock her about it. We tell her, so where is your favorite son? Where hasn't he come through for you? Now you have come to us, the rest of us, the others that you gave birth to. Where is the one that that is your? So parents, if you participate in the sibling rivalry, you are kind of nurturing unhealthy emotions within the children. And these are the healthy emotions that are resulting to the one child abusing the other. I don't know, there was a time in 2019, Ellie, there was a clip on Facebook of two boys actually who are siblings, one older one and one that is younger. And what was happening between these two boys, the older one was punching the younger one in the stomach. I don't know whether you guys saw that clip, and it had raised a lot of alarm and a lot of concern. Now, what I was worried about is the parent who had their phone taking a video of their two sons fighting like that. Anampiga ngumi ya tumbo, anamshika hivi, anampiga ngumi ya tumbo. And some of those things this child has been taught how to do. So those sibling rivalries, we need to be very careful about them. If you don't know what's happening, come from the kitchen or come from where you're doing. And I know as a parent, it's exhausting to deal with children, but you signed up for it by the fact that you have them in the house. You have accepted the responsibility. Calm down from where you are, sit down, listen, be an arbitrate, listen. What's going on? What did he do? Or what did he do? Okay, so that's what happened. So do you think you did something wrong? Teach these children how to resolve things among themselves without acquiring ati daddy ako side yangu or mami ako side yangu, or you wait, I see, I'll report you to my mother, you will see. Kwani she's not my mother also? She's our mother to both of us. So that balance, Ellie, is what we are looking for between the children. And as a parent, you're playing a very key role in the life of this child, especially in settling disputes and how they settle them. Even when they grow older, they will settle them the same way. That's why you see when a parent anatoka, unasikia anakwambia sasa enda uambie madhi akuja akusaidie, or go and tell your father to come and help you. Because now we have changed from the normal rivalry into hatred. And that's what we are concerned about, Ellie. Back to you, Ellie.
Thank you, Nyokabi. Susan, there's something that Nyokabi has mentioned about children saying Mama Yanani or Baba Yanani, and they're referring to their own parent. I mean, that term seems very okay, but when does it become not okay? Kindly expound much about that and how you choose to call your children pet names and actually equally give and distribute presents or rewards. Yeah, Susan.
Thank you, Eli. Actually, Nyokabu just explained it very clearly. When it comes to mostly when in these blended marriages, we find it happens a lot because when parents get together, two people get together, there were children, then they get other children, you will find that the older child will be referring at that one as mama yake, yeah, mama ya nani, because, and then that brings, it brings, the more that child is referring to the mother or the father as mama yako, ya nani, ya Vicky, ama mama ya Sharon, ama mama ya nani. So it will bring up a case that there is a gap. It creates a gap between the child and the parent. Now the child will be that gap. It may be so widened that it cannot be knitted up again. Now, what I do is that when I realize my children are creating a gap because of division, they're kind of it's more fights here. I come in and I make sure that I bridge up the gap, because if you watch the children, they make it as a joke to begin with, Ellie, but as they keep on saying it, it develops. It is inajengeka ndani. It is built from inside, and then it starts now creating the gap, and that gap may not be mended if you're not careful as a parent. Number two, as Nyokabi has said, now these children, when they start these conflicts, we are supposed to come in, step in. Actually, what you should do as a parent, don't always be stepping in to support. Step in to solve the problem, and then make the children, those names that you call one darlings, we really love whatever you call them, the pet names you've given, make sure they are at par. There is no pet name that is better than the other, or you can interchange the pet names, because they feel, actually, the names means a lot to the children. And when the children see, some of the children see you calling a pet name to one child, every time that is their name, my love, my sweetie, or darling, bring this, I'm telling you, it develops hatred to that child. You are the one creating hatred to that child. And these other children will actually start hating that child. You realize that child that is loved by the mother or by the dad, that child is hated by the siblings very much. They don't like to see them near them because they believe they takes their everything that they are entitled to. And most parents, they make this mistake. Like in these blended families, they take all the love to the child that is knitting them together. The child that comes in the new relationship, that is a child that is pampered, that is a child from every side. And the other child, the child lives like they don't exist in the family, and that is a big mistake. In this generation, young mothers are making these mistakes a lot. Nyokabi can attest to that. The young mothers, they are not able to balance the family. After divorce, they are not able to balance the children. Now, what is happening is that now it's not only that they will live together, but there's one thing that they have neglected that may come to itaripuka baadaye, and it can cause a lot of problem. The child that came, that package that came in, they are so much neglected nowadays. If you meet them out there, they are actually, they carry a lot of pain, and they are ready to do anything. Even when you find them, you try to talk to them. When they burst like you cannot understand it. But the young generation, the young mothers that we are having, the young couples that we are having, when one moves from a divorce and comes to another relationship, because they are not even waiting to get healed, they're just jumping, like Nyokabi said, they want to show the other man or the other woman, you see, I am still Nico Bado, yeah, and I can get another one even better than you. I had this story of a friend who got one relationship. You get out of it, you just take just 2 months. My dear, 2 months, it's too small. You jump to another relationship. Now it is coming back on her, and it is so banging on her head that she doesn't know what to do. Now that what she was seeking advice on is to ask me, Susan, now that what if I get out of this relationship, this marriage, what will my ex say? Now you see, the mentality is to think, what will the ex say, or how will he ataniona aje? I was like, what are you talking about? This guy is beating you. It is so violent. The guy does not even regard your child. Then you are asking me, if you get out of this relationship, what will your ex-boyfriend, because he got married and they are living well, now what will he think about you? That is childish. You won't die there because you're fearing, you are trying to please your ex, or you are trying to compete with your ex. This young generation, they need to really refocus and know children should be taken care of. And before they get to another relationship, they should consider the situation of the package that they are taking along. And it is through their healing, through accepting to move on, getting ready to move on, that will be able to, it will give them a stable mind and a stable self emotion, that they can be able to take care or to love the child that they come with. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne, for that. And I want to take a few questions or rather remarks from the viewers. And before I do that, we take a very short break. When we come back, we look at not only the comments from the viewers, but also Nyokabi. I want to engage you more with how you can deal with teenage age bracket of children in the new relationship. And let's not forget, Suzanne, there is an issue of where a woman feels like their teenage daughter or their daughter from the previous relationship is actually a competition in their new relationship. We want to focus on that when we come back. Thank you so much. And of course, in case you're joining us, we are tonight discussing family matters. Last week, we started off with blended families. And now we want to see what are some of the major challenges that come with the blended families and how we can deal with them. We'll be right back after this break.
Why is it becoming a common trend for Black Africans to feel like their skin being lighter? It's more interesting.
The rates at which people are bleaching are getting higher and higher by day, because society has said what should be beautiful and what is not beautiful, you know?
It boosts your confidence. So that is what most ladies think. I saw the challenge that you posted. A black Porsche, a white Porsche. Not many people like white cars. Like black looks more sexy, black looks beautiful. So fair skin, black skin is also fair skin.
But when we come to casting these strong black women, we want to cast them for security guard roles. I don't know what ideas we're driving.
You start having different, like Nduko said, there's some places that don't even bleach. I am tempted to think about some other places as well.
Of course, this is not Art in Heart, but this program is proudly sponsored by Art in Heart. Yes, we are discussing family matters and how we can be able to deal with our children when we decide to blend our families. I'm going to bring in my panelists, but before that, let's start off with this. Nyokabi, I hope you can be able to read this for us. This comment from one of the viewers.
Okay.
Are you
So the
struggling?
viewer is saying that. Sorry?
Is it okay? Is it okay? Can you be able to see the
You
text?
know me and these small letters. I see nothing. So my advice, if you are planning on getting into a blended family, please take it slowly. Let the kids get to know each other step by step. Start with play dates, weekend time together, dinner together. Don't rush. He has started a hashtag don't rush. I think we should incorporate that hashtag do not rush into a blended family. Another one, Ellie, we are saying when you get into another relationship with a kid, especially for men, make sure you take time and bond with your son or daughter. They might be mistreated in your absence and threatened not to say a word to you. Very true. You have to have a relationship with your son or your daughter so that they can tell you if anything is happening to them when you're away. Another one, Ellie. So we are reading another one. He's saying it is, I think this is a response to what I had read earlier. And it says it is, but that is the reality. And reality is that it is impossible to love all kids the same. Well, the parents will always have a favorite. While on the middle kids, since the first and the last bonds will always find favor. And you know, also, and to add on to that, Ellie, there are parents who favor children depending on who they are named after. So Gitao is saying not really, people are different. In most cases, have witnessed mothers favoring the kids wenye amezaa na current husband, maybe not to keep the man. The kids wenye amezaa na current husband, maybe to keep the man. Oh, you're favoring the children who you have with the current husband to keep the man. Yes, true, that also happens. Another one, Ellie. We have the way we nurture our kids matters around in the community and defines the future. It actually does. The way we take care of our children matters.
I think for now we leave it at that. There are so many of them, and we continue engaging all of them as we continue with the cast. But let's dive back to what I said earlier on before we went on a break. I don't know who was addressing us before we took the break. Was it Nyokabi or was it Susanna? I want to be a little bit fair here, so that no one kid will feel I'm giving too much candies here. Okay, so Nyokabi. Before we forget you, Nyokabi, engage me. Teenage children into a new relationship, especially those that are showing signs of, becoming more of a lady, turning almost into a lady. How do you balance as a mother not to feel like there's some sort of competition between yourself and this new husband and the child?
Hey, Aki Lukuyani, this is a very personal thing for me because personally I've experienced that.
I love that.
Where
let's talk about you, because if you don't mind, then it makes sense.
A parent feels that we are both women. You know, we are both women and we should compete for the attention of that particular man. I want to say this to a parent who has a teenager. The first thing that you need to realize, a teenager is not a 5-year-old. A teenager is somebody who is able to look at you and see what you're doing and be able to tell what you're doing is right or it's wrong, it's acceptable or it's unacceptable. The second thing is that if you're bringing up a teenage girl and you're feeling jealous of how your husband or your current husband is relating to them, then the child knows that you have those feelings and they will definitely take advantage of those feelings and make you feel bad. Now, if you are two parents, now I want to talk about the step parent who is the father who has come into the picture. You're actually a step parent because you have stepped into becoming a parent where you're not a biological parent. The first thing that you need to realize as a step parent is that you're not coming in as a friend to this child. You're not coming to familiar yourself with this child in ways that are not healthy. I would prefer that you relate with this child like a child, Stop looking at them with their fair skin and their boobies that are standing upright, and the ass that just seems to be in the right place, and the waistline that doesn't have any stretch marks, or stop looking at this child like a woman. Look at this child as a child, and then realize that you are actually a step parent. So your expectation is higher than a biological parent, because you're stepping into a responsibility that wasn't yours, that you haven't earned the right. So you have to be at the top of your game. So the relationship that you're making with this teenager is paramount, that it is parent to child relationship. Because if you lead this child on, if you show them that you like them more than you like their mother, or if you show them that you like them a little bit more than normal, of course they are going to enjoy on that, and they are going to thrive on it. And by the way, at the stage of teenagehood is when children begin to discover their sexuality, is when they become sexually aware, is when they start realizing they are women, they are boys, they are getting wet dreams, they are realizing they are getting those hormones, those sexual hormones. So yes, this is when they are discovering their sexuality. So as a parent, you have to be very, very careful as a stepfather when you're dealing with this girl, because the way you treat this girl, it will trigger those emotions in this girl. Now let's come to the mother. My dear mother, you are not an equal to this girl. You're not playing on the same level ground. You are the parent, this is a child. You're not two women in the house. I want to be as candid as I can be, Lukuyani, and please allow me some things. Some demons, you just can't pack a butter on them. You have to slap them out. You're not an equal with this child. I personally have gone through this, and I can tell you it's not easy. It's not easy dealing with a parent who is looking at you and seeing you like another woman. Because I remember there was a time, Lukuyani, when I was just about to do my wedding. I remember I sent an SMS to one of my parents, and I told them, the mistake you make is looking at me like a woman like you. Now, moving forward, I will no longer be a child. I will deal with you like a woman. Now you come for me, I will come for you like a woman. Because now this unhealthy relationship of, oh, he doesn't even love you, oh, he doesn't even want you, because they become fully insecure early, and it gets out of control, that this parent actually begins to show you that I'm insecure about the love this man is giving you. I'm insecure about how close this man is getting to you. But if you remember that you're the parent and this is a child, and you sit them down and you tell them, hey, you're developing like a woman, you're now becoming a woman like me. But at the end of the day, I'm still your parent. And this man here is my husband. And I would like you to relate with him the way you relate with a father. Look at him like a father. Stop seeing him and thinking, oh, he has muscles, oh, he has a nice beard and you like it. Stop going to him, to run to him to meet your needs as a woman. If you have those needs, allow me as your mother to meet them. Let this man meet your needs as a father. Your basic needs. Let him put a roof over your head. Let him put some clothes on your body. Let them put some food in your stomach. But if you're feeling lonely, please do not run to the arms of this man and try to find comfort there. And you will develop unhealthy relationship. You will develop unhealthy feelings with this person. Even with biological parents, Ellie, we have seen biological parents crossing the board and actually developing a romantic relationship with their daughters. Here in Kenya, Ellie, we have a very interesting pastor who left aniwache mimi aoe my daughter. I don't know whether you know that. We have a very interesting blended family here in Kenya of a pastor, a very senior pastor, who left aniwache mimi aoe my daughter. He left the wife that he had chosen to date and married the daughter, and actually has a family with the daughter of the woman that he was married to. And they have children. Sasa angalia hiyo ni aibu inakaaje, because they did not take care of their feelings. This man was looking at this teenager like a woman. And then the mother of this teenager was looking at this boy, as this girl, as a woman like her. So she didn't step back and ask herself, how can I protect my daughter from this situation? How can I have a conversation with my daughter? Because the minute you start fighting with your daughter, at wewe utajua I'm a better woman like you, you will discover that you're not a better woman like her, because she's younger than you. You're playing in a whole different ball game and you will lose. And the aspect and that respect that a child would give you, that fear, that reverence that a child would give you, you lose it the minute you become emotional, the minute need to become invested, and it starts becoming a tug of war. Wewe wacha kucheza na bwana yangu. Wewe, what do you mean? You are my child. Stop playing with your father. That is the question. You're developing an unhealthy relationship with your father. Ati wacha kucheza na bwana yangu, huyo si mwanaume walika yako, ndio utafute mwanaume walika yako. You see some of these statements, they make you realize that this parent has lost complete control over this child. So we are encouraging them to just have a conversation with your teenager, and it's not enough to tell them that it's wrong. It's not enough to say ati usikule hiyo sukari. Kwa nini nisikule sukari na wewe unakula hiyo sukari kila siku? What is wrong with me eating? It's not enough to just say it. You need to walk the journey with this child, and you need to prioritize being a parent over your feelings of insecurity, over your feelings of wanting to control, over your feelings of fighting for this man to remain in your grip. You need to remain as a parent. Calm down and tell her, Nyokabi, sit down. You are my daughter. I don't like the way you're relating with your father. Why? Because you're doing 1, 2, 3 things. And as a woman, you will get attached to this man. And he will take advantage of it because anapenda dogo. But don't make it seem like tunashindana, mimi ni mzazi, now we have lost the aspect of parent and child. Let's maintain that sanity. That's the only way that we can deal with these situations, Lukuyani. And by the way, it is happening to boy childs as well. You know, we talk about these things as if it's only girls who go through it. Even boys go through it with their aunties, with their elder cousins, and even with parents. You find that kijana hapa amekuja hapa, baba yake ameleta stepmother, manyanga, Eli. Msichana kama mimi umeleta and your son there is 25. My friend, utasaidiwa hii kazi bwana.
Atafanyia ile kitu. Ile kitu ya Nairobi.
Umeleta mtu alika yake hapo kwa nyumba, tunamwambia ati this is your mother. My mother what? What do you mean my mother? And they are able to connect and they are able to communicate. So that level of understanding, that the minute your father has taken a woman into his bed, that person has automatically become your parent, regardless of how old they are. They cease from being a girl. So you can't relate with them at your buddies with your stepmother. Ati munashindanga mkienda movies, mumeenda K1 kuimba dombolo huko. You will develop feelings for each other. You must relate with this woman the way you would relate with your biological mother, and then maintain that respect between the two of you. Huyu ni mzazi, huyu ni mtoto. Period. There's no two ways about it.
I would love to say something about it, but I will come in later, so don't think I'm having a repetition. Suzanne, you have a new relationship. In this case, I'm talking to the ladies that are there, and I'm basically focusing my speech on ladies because, as we said, they are more prone to this kind of unforeseen dangers because most of them tend to move with the children because one, probably the children are too young to be left with the father, that is their biological father, or probably the fact that they are much comfortable staying around their mothers because of the comfort of being nurtured. So Susan, Nyokabi has talked about the teenage. I mentioned something about the competition, about the mother feeling the daughter is a competition, and of course Nyokabi has expounded on it. Then my question, as we try to demystify this whole thing, is there is an increase of abusive words, especially to a child that is from a previous relationship, including the way they tend to correct them. You might find they are being a little bit physical with them. How do you help out these mothers in their new relationships? Susan.
Thank you, Eli. Thank you, Nyokabi. You killed it. You nailed it. It was nice to listen to that. Most of these children that come with a parent, of course, children, especially the girls, they are growing. They grow faster, and as they grow, their bodies are changing and become more attractive. But now, where parents start using bad words, I'll start from where Nyokabi stopped. When a mother looks at a girl, the girl that you brought in, and then you start seeing her as competition, and now that makes you insecure. So you start trying to to cover it up or to fight it with words. Now you start trying to bring down the child so that they don't think of doing something. Now, in the process, as Nyokabi has said, in the process of trying to bring down the girl, especially when these girls become so beautiful and so attractive, now you become insecure even without nothing chasing you. The man has not shown any interest to your girl. The girl is not even thinking. She might be looking at the man as a dad, but some mothers, they cause things to happen. They cause these girls to add 1 + 1 = 2. Now, because the words they start using on the girl, because of their insecurity, it makes the girl start opening their eyes. And I have seen some cases here in Denmark, especially Africans, these interracial marriages. There are women who come with children from Africa, and then they get married to the white people. Now, what happens is that the girl grows and they become so attractive. In Denmark or in the Western countries, the white man will not, actually may not even have looked at your daughter. But you start developing that insecurity. Then you start, don't. You come with so many don'ts. Don't do this, do not. Then the girl that you came with, they start now thinking, what is it that, like Nyokabi said, that sugar that is there, they want now to taste it. Why am I told not to touch, not to do? Now that is one thing that causes the young girls also to get into a situation with their fathers, even when there was nothing. Now the other things is abusive words. Sometimes we use so abusive words. Unafikiri we ni mrembo kuniliko, we unafikiri ulitoa hii urembo wapi? Some words that you cannot imagine. Why are they coming? Why would you keep on using such words to your child? And sometimes you end up spoiling them. And then as you spoil them, the first man that is close, that is the man they will target, because that is where they are seeking comfort. Now you push them to those men, because the next person that is talking good to them is the man in the house. And so that is where they seek comfort. And in the process of seeking comfort, they take it too far, because they want to feel loved. And so they take it a little far. They are the ones now who will be throwing themselves to that man, even when the man did not even have thoughts of it. Now when the men are weak. So it is very important to know, to balance. You let our insecurities not cause us to use bad words to our teenagers, because teenagers are growing, as Nyokabi has said, and that is when they are realizing who they are, and they are realizing who they are in different ways. And if you say one word, they have to sit down and think, why was I told that word? And they overthink about it. So we have to be very careful the language we use and how we treat these children, because it really affects them, and it may put them in a situation that they were not even willing to be in, but we push them into that situation. Many things are happening, and as we have had, some dads also, they are getting into relationship with their own biological children. What is causing this? Sometimes I will add, Ellie, you didn't ask me this, but I will just add this. Mothers, they come with children, they don't have time for children. They don't listen to those children. They are busy looking for one thing or the other. They just leave the children, those girls, to take care of their husband. And what happens? That every time relationship, the girl is the one serving the father with the food. The girl is there to polish the shoes of the father. The girl is even there to iron the clothes of the. What do you think as a woman? Negligence on our duties sometimes is causing the teenage girls to get away with the man that we are married to. So we have to take our responsibility, as Nyokabi has said, know your position as a woman and handle it the right way. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. As we conclude because of time, Nyokabi, very quickly, can you give us, if any, the long-term effects of a lady who is a child being abused or being in such kind of abusive relationship from their own biological mother? What could be the long-term effects?
The first long-term effect will be that the child will also become an abuser. So what you have done is that you have started a sequence or a generational abusive nature or a generational behavior of abuse, because a person who has been abused is likely to become an abuser. That's number one. Number two, when you abuse a child, you make them vulnerable to abuse. You teach them that abuse is normal and is acceptable. So they'll attract the deepest, call it the deepest. They'll find themselves in relationships that result in them being abused. And they don't see the need to come out because it is normal. So they live a life of abuse following them through like a shadow. Those are the major effects of a child who has been brought up being abused. The other effect is broken relationship or toxic relationships. You develop a very toxic relationship with this child. You can never tell this child anything and they hear you. And this child can never tell you anything and you hear them. Because of that abuse that is in the background, that pain, that unresolved pain that is within this child will always keep coming back. So even the character of this child always is in question. Because of that abuse that they have experienced, they'll always end up in very toxic relationships with their siblings, with their relatives, even with you as a parent, with their spouses, as in toxicity becomes a part of their lives. And then again, children who have gone through abuse are prone to abusing substances. They develop unhealthy mechanisms of coping with issues. They're the ones who end up becoming alcoholics. They're the ones who end up becoming prostitutes. Those ones who are abused sexually. They're the ones who end up doing a lot of vices within the society. They commit very heinous crimes because they have this pain within themselves, this rage that they don't know what it's about. And unless they get proper help, somebody who walks them and tells them, hey, draw a life map for me. What happened to you in your childhood? What affected you the way you have been affected? And somebody walks with them and helps them deal with these issues. Otherwise, they end up becoming very toxic people to themselves and to the people who are around them. So you'll be raising a generation of dysfunctional people. You'll be raising a generation of people who don't know how to be corrected, how to receive rebuke, who don't know any other language. I want to give you an example, Ellie. I know of a person who was verbally abused growing up. And whenever this person calls me on my phone, I take a deep breath and prepare myself. Because the first thing she's going to say is insulting. And this is her nature, you know. And even when we are in church and we are gathering somewhere where there are people who are serious in life, yani akiongea tu, you just go like, oh Jesus. Yani, because of conforming to that kind of a lifestyle, this person cannot say, you can't have a conversation eli bila yeye kutumia majina zingine hapo, uwezi rudia mbele ya watu. And you know, some of these words, when you say them in your mother tongue, they become even more disgusting. So she has called you and she calls you a monkey in Kikuyu, you know, or or she says you monkey in Kikuyu, you know. I don't know whether you're getting it. And you're
I
thinking,
get the vibe.
Sasa wewe mbona nimekuchukulia simu? Those are the kind of people that you're bringing up when you expose them to abuse, whatever level of abuse, whether it is emotional abuse, which is the most dangerous kind of abuse, or it is physical abuse, or it is financial abuse. And when I talk about financial abuse, is the one that you give children. I'll not give you money unless you do da 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 da. That is financial abuse. Those are the ones who sell themselves. They get money whatever way possible because they have gone through financial abuse. There is physical abuse where you can't correct a child. You slap them silly. You don't have to beat them in anger. And we talked about disciplining and breaking the spirit of a child and punishment. We talked about those levels in our previous context. And we say that you're not looking to punish the child, you're looking to correct the behavior. So if you're beating your child when you're angry, you're abusing them, because you're taking out your anger on them. If you're correcting them, then you should not be angry. You should be calm, you should be composed, you should not be beating them. Wewe unakaa kama mama yako, my friend, you're abusing that child. Because si kukaa kama mama yake imemfanya afanye vile amefanya, ni makosa yake yeye mwenyewe. It has nothing to do with your spouse or your partner. So we must focus on that, and we must be able to do. Those are some of the very serious effects of abusing a child. You raise a very dysfunctional, a very broken person, a very wounded person, a person who does not even know how to embrace love, how to accept forgiveness, how to give forgiveness, because they have not experienced it. So you need to teach this child the right way without abusing them. Ellie.
Thank you so much, Jokabi. Suzanne, as we conclude, let me just ask you very shortly, do we have help for people that are actually having this problem, and that's in relationship format? And if so, when is it time to realize that probably you could be abusing your child unknowingly? Suzanne.
Thank you, Ellie. Most of the times, most parents, they don't even know they are abusing. They don't realize they are abusive at any point. Like when you come to Kenya, where I come from, you know, tulikuwa tunachapwa, tunatandikwa kabisa. But our mothers did not think they were actually abusing us. They were thinking they were disciplining us instead. And tulikuwa tunachapwa, every slight mistake hawezi kosana na kiboko. Like I used to tell my daughters, I don't know why I was beaten the most. Nilikuwa nachapwa most in the house. I don't know kama nilikuwa kamuremi sana. I cannot tell, but I really suffered until nowadays. When I go back there, I ask her, why did you beat me so much? Then she tells me, because I saw what was inside you. But to a point, I told her, you cannot beat me. You know, mpaka ukiangalia hapa hivi nilishekiwa mdomo. That part ilikatika, haijawahi rudiana tena, Eli. That is a sign that I always show my children, the sign of beating, ile ni receive. But sometimes they don't know they are really abusing. They think they are disciplining, but they go overboard with the discipline. Now, when we are disciplining children, we should know, first of all, identify the mistake, why you want to discipline them. Now, how will you discipline that child? Not like Nyokabi said, not kuchapa mtoto ati you look like your mother. You know, you are doing things like you. That is not discipline. You're gonna vent out what you feel about the mother to the child. Now, the level or the limit, we have to have a limit with the discipline, because sometimes we are abusing our own children. Also, the words that we use, Ellie, let me tell you, it's not only the physical abuse. There are parents who, oh my God, when they talk to a child, you wonder, which planet did this woman or this man come from? The words that are coming from the mouth, useless, yeah, kitu ya bure, wewe kabisa, ngombe, umboi, kwenda huko. These words, they develop, they create. Someone said you keep on calling your child or someone a dog, it will bite you one day. Now you keep on calling that child a dog. Umboi, kwenda huko umboi, unaita mtoto umbwa in the entire life that they have grown. They know they are dogs. Now when they start turning back on you, when they reach teenage, they will try. If you've not realized, teenagers, when children reach teenage, they try now to, as they are realizing themselves their things, they will do it on the positive way and even on the negative way according to how they have been growing. Now, on the negative way, it can go extreme, because all those words that names that you've been calling them, then they may try to bite and see how to exercise how dogs bite, and they will bite you first. So it is very important to know the limits of disciplining children, and not to carry, to make it, to take it to overboard, that it becomes abuse. I think it's very important to differentiate the two. And when we are able to differentiate the two, then we will be able to bring up wonderful children. And calling children wonderful words, we are creating that in them. And that is why we have wonderful children, if we make a routine of calling them good names. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies, we couldn't have so much that we can do with 1 hour. I mean, this is just a conversation starter that all of us need to jump into. You can get with the relationship coach, Nyokabi Kamau, with her contacts that I'll quickly bring them on. That is on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn, Nyokabi GK Kamau, +254 0780 810 987. That is +254 780 810 987. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. That is Nyokabi GK Kamau. And for those who have matters relationships in terms of marriage, Suzanne Mutai is a marriage counselor. And if she will be in a good mood and you reach out to her by simply looking for Susan Mutai on Facebook, she'll probably be helpful to help you out. And you know how we do it here. This is the Saturday edition where we discuss family matters. And on family matters, we discuss things that are supposed to build a family. Tomorrow, we take it different on Ellie's Hangout. Join me because it's a hot seat and story that you need to sit back, listen, and learn. And of course, see you on Tuesday as we tackle the men's den, where we tackle issues to deal with men. On Wednesday, same place, same time, Nyokabi Kamau will be there to talk of relationship matters, emotion issues, and of course, I'm sorry, but sex is part of the topic. See you then, because you need to learn sex in the right way. Until then, I've been your host, Likuyani Eli, and see you tomorrow, right here from 7:30 p.m. Central European Time, and that is 9:30 p.m. East African Time. Till then, good night.